Atlanta is like, you know, the Motown of the South.
Peace up, A-Town.
Atlanta, Georgia. The cultural capital of the South has been the breeding ground for some of music's biggest artists for years.
I don't want no scrub. A scrub is a guy that can't get no love from me.
Man, we got an amazing array of talent.
I got the horses in the back, horse stock is attached.
Artists who are currently lighting up the world stage,
And that's just how we do it.
and legends who will forever be solidified in music history. From Ray Charles to Childish Gambino.
This is America. Don't catch you slipping now.
And Gladys Knight to Ciara.
I've been thinking about you.
Atlanta is a big part of what's made me who I am today.
Atlanta's contribution to the American music industry is undeniable.
Man, it's where it all started for me.
With way too many names to list, you can't help but wonder, how did the heart of the Peach State become such a rich hub for African American talent?
I don't know what it is about Atlanta. We just dope.
Is it the location?
We sit at the forefront of influence.
The history?
There's something in the water, as they would say.
Or similar to what Ciara said, does Atlanta just have the juice?
What kicks off Atlanta's rise in terms of Black expressive culture?
According to Maurice Hobson, it's a combination of factors. But there is one person in particular who played a pivotal role in establishing Atlanta as the Black music mecca it is today. And he wasn't even a musician.
Never shall I let you down.
Maynard Jackson was elected as the first Black mayor. One of the things he does is in 1974, he builds the Bureau of Cultural Affairs.
Believing that all great cities have great art, Mayor Jackson had a vision for Atlanta. He worked alongside then Governor and future President Jimmy Carter to implement initiatives that would boom the art and entertainment industry in the city.
Governor Jimmy Carter, along with Maynard Jackson, are able to create the Georgia Film, Music, and Digital Entertainment Office, which presented a tax. And as a result of that, Atlanta, it sets the stage for tax incentives for expressive art to be produced. And because Atlanta at the time was a Black city, Atlanta focused on Black art and culture.
Yep, that's 10 Things I Hate About You. And the song in the background is Atlanta's SOS Band's hit song, Just Be Good to Me. The late 70s and early 80s ushered in the funk era for the city. At the time, Atlanta was the underdog in music compared to New York or LA. So it became a place for artists to experiment.
The SOS Band, that is the Atlanta sound.
The SOS Band was responsible for creating a sound that eventually laid the foundation for Atlanta's take on R&B. And later, the city's groundbreaking hip-hop scene.
Sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real.
When I think back on it now, like, pretty incredible. It's pretty incredible.
Musicians L.A. Reid and Kenneth Babyface Edmonds left Los Angeles to launch a new record label in Atlanta in the late 80s and set the scene for the 90s.
It's beginning to look a lot like wood. Follow my every step.
90s was lit, okay? The 90s was lit in Atlanta.
A decade that put Atlanta on the map as a place where talent can thrive.
Atlanta's kind of rise as a Black cultural city has a lot to do with a lot of its transplants that come here too. So it's not just local Atlanta talent. I think it's a real convergence on on Black America and the Black world coming into the city.
With help from music exec Clive Davis, L.A. Reid and Babyface created LaFace Records.
it was like we all had a dream of making it, and it seemed real when LA Reid and Babyface moved to Atlanta, because it's like, okay, well, if they signed them and they got their record on the radio, all we need is somebody to hear us and we're gonna blow up. That's how we looked at it.
We're on the making of our video, Waterfalls. It's our new video coming out, our third one.
Don't go chasing waterfalls. Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to.
The first two major groups LaFace signed were TLC and Crisscross. Both groups went platinum quick. And soon, the 90s saw a string of new artists based out of the A, but none quite as unique as this dynamic duo. Outkast formed in 1992, made up of André 3000 and Big Boy. The two became known for their mix of funk and rap, creating their own lane.
When we got into it, we were high school kids, and we just want to do something fun and different and push it. And if it's not that, why do it?
I'm talking about a black man heaven here.
Their debut album, Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music, brought this style of Southern rap to Atlanta, then the world.
With Outkast, they gave you a rundown of the city of Atlanta. Outside of those kind of like rosy ideas about Atlanta being the home of Dr. King and one of the birthplaces of the civil rights movement, they were like, nah, this is what's happening in Atlanta after the civil rights movement. Let me tell you about how folks want to talk about and champion ideas of education, but what happens if education doesn't work? How do we talk about working class communities? How do we get by? How do we survive? How do we complicate these narratives that are in place? And also, how do we show you that, Atlanta is popping as a city? You know what I'm saying? Like, ultimately, it was the introduction to the potential of the South having a hip hop city.
The platinum success of their debut project led to Outkast winning Best New Rap Group at the 1995 Source Awards, beating out NWA at the height of the East Coast-West Coast rivalry. While accepting their win, the duo got booed, but André 3000 left the audience with these memorable words.
But it's like this though, I'm tired of folks, you know what I'm saying? Them closed-minded folks, you know what I'm saying? It's like we got a demo tape and don't nobody want to hear, but it's like this the South got something to say, that's all I got to say. This the South got something to say, that's all I got to say.
That infamous line opened a door for other Southern artists to not just be heard, but respected. As time went on, Outkast continued to have something to say, and the fans wanted to hear more. The group continued to top the charts and took home some Grammys in the process.
Atlanta was a city that had to be included in any conversation in big cities that we could have. That was one of the barriers that I broke.
Another trendsetter straight out of Atlanta is super producer Jermaine Dupri.
Welcome to Atlanta where the players play and we ride on them things like every day.
LaFace and Rowdy Records set the foundation for tons of hip-hop and R&B record labels to be based in Atlanta, which plays a huge factor in attracting new artists.
There's a lot of dope producers and songwriters that live in Atlanta and have been kind of like the backbone, I guess, in pushing the culture.
Dupri founded So So Def Records in the mid-1990s, signing acts like Bow Wow, Da Brat, Jagged Edge, and Escape. Dupri specifically changed the game with the ladies of Escape, aka Kandi Burruss, Tamika Tiny Collins, and sisters LaTosha Scott and Tamika Scott, by using this one technique.
He was actually the person that introduced us to that world and was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put your voices on these hip hop tracks.
As I stand here contemplating on the right thing to decide.
We can't take all the credit for that. I have to say, thanks to Jermaine for just kind of rolling that out for us to say, hey, this is something new that I think that you guys should be a part of. So he created that sound for us, and I think people have emulated that.
Seeing Singing over hip-hop tracks is now the industry standard. Everyone from Beyonce to Ariana Grande and Atlanta native Summer Walker do it. In the early 2000s, Atlanta's very own Ludacris took his Dirty South sound mainstream with his label Disturbing the Peace and back-to-back hits.
When I move, you move. Just like that. When I move, you move. Just like that.
So when I wrote that song, I honestly could not say to myself that, 10, 20 years down the line that people would still be singing it. But that's just a testament to, in my opinion, what music is all about. And that's making timeless songs and not just trendy songs.
Stand up. Stand up.
Speaking of trends, in the early 2000s, before the TikTok challenges, rappers out of Atlanta, they had us getting down with the choreography. I'm doing the Poor Palace. You know.
There's a period of time where a lot of the hip hop coming out of Atlanta was really promoting dance. I mean, lean with it, rock with it.
And snap your fingers.
Let's go. Snap your fingers. But do you still? You can do it all by yourself. Let me see you do it.
Lil Jon and the East Side Boys hit the scene hard with crunk music. This is when the dance crazes exploded. With artists like D4L and their song Laffy Taffy and DJ Unk's Walk It Out. During the early 2000s, we also started to see the emergence of trap music.
This is right when I'm coming into my full T.I.ism, you know what I'm saying?
T.I. released his debut album, aptly named Trap Music with a Z, under his record label Grand Hustle. Now, almost 2 decades later, it's the main sound coming out of the city. Migos, Future, and Gucci Mane are just a few of the names who are currently dominating the music scene with trap sound. And while it's celebrated by many, some have a cause for concern.
No disrespect to artists that have participated in trap, but we have to have a serious conversation around what it means to be in the trap. And we're talking about the militarization of the police. We're talking about the school to prison pipelines, selling of crack cocaine in Black communities. The city of Atlanta is now glorifying this whole trap culture, but they don't really want to deal with the repercussions of what crack cocaine did to Black communities. It's a beautiful city, but just like in any other place, it's had its problems, and we have to understand that those that are creating the music, that those that are producing the culture, they have to be able to kind of articulate what the people on the ground in the city are experiencing.
Recently, trap music has expanded beyond the borders of Atlanta, and it has become one of the most streamed genres across the entire US. It's even made its way overseas, with K-pop artists getting in on the game.
On the water, squat.
The influence can also be heard in the Latin market.
Melicia. Skirt, skirt, skirt. Ando en el Alto Manhattan con tu booty 4 onzas de tutu.
Recently, I asked Offset from Migos about his take on the genre and where he sees it headed in the future.
It's already #1, so I think if it stay there, it's relatable. It's a lot of people going through that, going through struggle, going through pain, you know what I'm saying, going through harder times, trying to make it out of one situation to be in a better situation. So I think it's gonna stay ahead.
Whether it's trap, crunk music, R&B, funk, or whatever's next, it's clear that Atlanta artists have left their industry-defining marks on the music scene. While it's hard to pin down or describe everything that makes Atlanta such a rich hub for African-American talent, one thing we know for sure is that whatever it is, Atlanta has it.
All of the incredible artists that have come out of there, all the great culture that's come out of Atlanta, though we all go on to do bigger things, it all is about the start,